Welcome, friends. I'm Jim Hughes, bringing you this edition of Oxford News This Week. In our headlines: medical debt relief and blood drive here in Oxford Township, shooting for the stars in the student theater production, and even more championship titles to our Oxford Athletics Department. Sit back, stay tuned. You're watching Oxford News This Week. And welcome back. The Oxford Township Board of Education recently upheld the president of the district school year beginning with Labor Day during its meeting on the 10th of October. The board unanimously voted to approve a Labor Day waiver, which is a state-required document that allows school districts to start before the traditional deadline in Michigan. The waivers last for a three-year period, and the last waiver was signed back in 2019, which is retroactive and applied to the beginning of the school year. According to the Oxford School Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Ryan Reed, the waiver helps to align sequence of courses and support additional success for students enrolled in early or even middle college programs. The program, according to the official website of the state of Michigan, allows students to earn a high school diploma, also attain college credit certification, and or apprenticeships. A partnership for the Public Spaces and Scholarship Program for the Pollyant Trail Management Team, the Oxford Women's Club have united in a bottle drive to raise funds, have been united for both the organizations. The groups work relatively close with one another as volunteers and members of the Pollyant Trail. Manager Linda Moran said she also sees groups trying to find creative ways to sustain their programs without asking for business donations. The Women's Club is aiming to raise money for the scholarship program, which has distributed $16,000 to Oxford High School seniors last year. The Pollyant Trail is searching for funds to improve trail safety, increase Americans with Disabilities Compliance Act, and bottle collection for these sites include the police garage behind Oxford Village Police Station, the village offices at 22 West Burdick Street. The drive does run until end of October. If you've missed the deadline, the Pollyant Trail is not actively seeking monetary donations, but they can still be made at pollyantrail.org. In other news this week, marking the beginning of the 36th year of the Oakland County Sheriff's annual Coats for the Cold coat drive. This does go from November 1st through the 30th of the month. The Sheriff's Office will collect new or even gently used clean coats to donate to those in need. Oxford has 3 drop-off sites: the local Genesis Credit Union location, Living Water Church at Seymour Lake, and the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. The substation, the Sheriff's Office asked for those interested in donating to go to their closets and try to help with their heart in helping out this most generous cause. The Oakland County has partnered with a national nonprofit organization, RIP Medical Debt, to purchase the medical debt of up to 80,000 residents in the county. Executive Director Dave Coulter announced at the news conference last week that the program will eliminate residential debt of smaller portions and its cost. The October 19th Board of Commissioners approved this $2 million of its American Rescue Plan Act funds to purchase a $200 million in medical debt, 100 times the cost of the plan. The plan could serve up to 70% of Oakland County residents with medical debt. Michigan residents who earn less than 4 times the federal poverty level or who have debt of 5% or more of their annual income are eligible for help. Residents don't even need to apply. RIP Medical Debt works directly with the hospitals, and those who are selected for the program will be notified through the mail that they're qualified. Even more youth fire safety training in Oxford. On the last edition of our news program, we covered the kindergartners traveling to the Oxford Fire Station, but this time the fire educators came to the school. Clear Lake Elementary School welcomed the experienced guests on the 24th of October. The State Fire Marshal Kevin Schlmeyer read to the students, the 2nd and 3rd grade class, and shared some fire safety tips. Schulmeyer made a trip to the Oxford Township office of the Oxford Fire Department, one of the top 10 Michigan fire departments in its category of home installation of smoke alarms. Public Assembly Fire Safety Inspector Mariko Barra, as well as the Oxford Fire personnel on site, Clear Lake Principal Stephanie Nemi, and Oxford Township Supervisor Jack Curtis, all in attendance. Curtis said it was an honor to have such a distinguished guest in the Oxford Township to educate and protect the next generation. In other fire news, a local artist, Jeremy Pascal, is brightening up the walls inside the Oxford Fire Station Bay Number 1 by creating 2 murals. Pascal is in the process of painting nearly a 6 foot by 6 foot Oxford Fire Department logo. As the owner of Pascal Creative Painting, he is donating his work and materials. Pascal also, from personal experience with firefighting, as his father was a lieutenant with the Maine Phillips Fire Department, and Pascal himself completed firefighting work while serving in the National Civilian Community Corps. His second mural in the station will depict Sparky the Fire Dog, a Dalmatian and the official mascot of the National Fire Protection Association, on the other wall. A very some birthday. Sounds like we're going to talk about some puppies here. The deputy at Oxford, one of the Oakland County Sheriff's Comfort Canines, turned 2 years old on the 21st of October. Since January 2022, the deputy has worked for the township substation with the assignments providing comfort, spreading smiles wherever he goes. The furry friend works and lives with the deputy Scott Rafalski and one of the Oxford Community School 2 resource officers. The deputy is Oxford is Cavalier King Charles, a spaniel. He even has his own trading card as of late September. If you see him, wish him a belated happy birthday to that deputy. In our Behind the Lens segment, which we come to enjoy, in this week's Behind the Lens segment, Oxford High School, the National Honor Society recently hosted a charitable event. The students held a blood drive in the gymnasium with the goal of collecting 42 units. They were able to gain more than that, 50% of more blood than they had hoped for, collecting 64 units, enough donations to impact 192 lives. Now that is something to be positive about. In our last story, it's called Shooting for the Stars. Up next, Dave Kenny with Auto Talk, and I know he'll have science in the news, and I'll have a look at sports. You are watching Oxford News This Week right here on Oxford Community Television.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, no matter where we serve, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. Toyota Motor Corporation is taking another step toward a breakthrough in its solid-state batteries for electric cars with a new partnership to develop mass production methods for the critical electrolyte, the automaker said in a statement. The deal, announced October 12th, teams the world's largest automaker with Japanese petrochemical giant Idemitsu Kosan to commercialize the advanced battery technology in the 2027 to 2028 timeframe, paving the way for what they call full-scale mass production. Successful development of all solid-state batteries is seen as a critical to unlocking the potential of full electric vehicles by enabling much longer ranges in smaller, lighter packages. The batteries, which have a ceramic electrolyte instead of a liquid one, are much more energy dense, faster charging, and considered safer than today's liquid electrolyte lithium-ion batteries. The batteries are seen especially beneficial in sports cars and big SUVs. The batteries are scheduled to arrive in time to help Toyota achieve a goal of selling 3.5 million EVs worldwide in 2030, including Toyota and Lexus brands. But it remains a challenge to manufacture solid-state batteries at scale while maintaining quality. Toyota is developing the advanced battery technology at its Tiho factory in Toyota City, where it previewed its efforts to journalists in September. Toyota plans two versions of all-solid-state batteries, that is. The first will arrive around 2027 to 2028. Toyota targets a range of more than 621 miles for that battery and predicts it will recharge to 80% state of charge from 10% in about 10 minutes. The second solid-state battery will arrive at an unspecified date. Toyota has said it will have a range exceeding 745 miles. Toyota and Idemitsu, in a joint statement, said they will work to develop mass production technology of solid electrolytes, improve productivity, and establish a supply chain for all solid-state batteries for battery electric vehicles. Idemitsu has been working on the fundamentals of solid-state batteries since 2001, while Toyota began its own R&D in 2006, the company said. The upcoming cooperation will focus on sulfide solid electrolytes. The company said that the promising chemistry enables high energy capacity and high power output. Sulfide solid electrolytes are soft and sticky, making them well suited to mass production, they said. The companies have established a task force with dozens of members to deliver the technology through a three-phase roadmap that leads to commercialization in 2027 to 28 and ends with a forward-looking study of manufacturing even more advanced solid-state batteries. Idemitsu already has a small pilot plant making sulfide solid electrolytes and is building a large pilot factory as a test bed for commercialization in the next 4 to 5 years. Idemitsu President Sunichi Kito said the company was considering eventual mass production of the solid electrolyte at its plant in Chiba Prefecture, just east of Tokyo. Investment level haven't been finalized, Idemitsu said. Keiji Kaita, head of battery development at Toyota, said the automaker plans to set up its first line for manufacturing solid-state batteries around the company's Toyota City global headquarters near Nagoya. The company said the batteries will be suitable for global widespread use and that Toyota ensures market launch of BEVs with all solid-state batteries in 2027 to 28. At Toyota's recent tour of its Tiho plant development facility, the automaker showed how it overcame problems in stacking layers of cathode-anode cells precisely and at high speeds. Toyota engineers said they have cracked the code of solid-state battery materials. The next challenge, they say, is speeding up output while maintaining quality and safety. Can't wait. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
If you like to spend time in the outdoors, then there's a good chance you could come across a young fawn. And normally, young fawns are found alone because their mothers place them there to be safe. A young fawn has very little scent, and the mother will only come in just a couple times a day in order to feed it and leaves quickly so that she doesn't leave behind her scent. So if you find a young fawn curled up in the grass, that's actually the safest place for it to be. Enjoy that moment, but don't touch it or move it. The mother will be back soon. Only licensed rehabilitators can legally possess wildlife, so please leave wildlife in the wild. For a list of licensed rehabilitators throughout the state, visit michigan.gov/wildlife.
Welcome back to Oxford News This Week. The third time's a charm. Oxford girls cross country team is now Oakland Activities Association Red League champions for the third time in a row. They traveled to Clintonwood Park on October 19th for the event that would decide the fate of their title. The entire team took home a score of 40 points. Oxford runners Mallory Bigelow and Brady Elling took home first and second place respectively. Their times of just 18 minutes placed them into the second and third place all-time on the girls cross country 5,000 meter. The record board at Oxford High School. Congratulations to those two Wildcats. Now it's time for some sport bites. Two Oxford High School teams finished their seasons last week. After breaking school history in the process, the Oxford boys varsity soccer team took home the district championship title since 2014. It happened on the 18th of this month. They took down the Clarkston Wolves 3-2 and advanced into the regional semifinals on the 24th. Unfortunately, the Wildcats did fall to Detroit Catholic Central. The score there 2-0. The boys finished up the season overall OAA Red League. The title in the program history was a record of 16-5-3. Oxford varsity girls golf team also finished up their season this past week, taking home 7th place in the MHSAA state finals. The girls made history in both attending the championships and taking home the highest finish in program history. Congratulations to the student athletes on their success. We also want to congratulate the Oxford football team picking up another victory in their last home game of the season. That was last Friday night. They are on to Lake Orion this week to take on a very powerful, undefeated Lake Orion. Oxford at 4-5 overall. Coach Line is in for a big challenge, and hopefully we may see a W, and Oxford would advance in the playoffs. But what a great football season. We want to thank the entire athletic department for that. That's going to wrap it up in sports. I'll be back with our last story, and to close this newscast out, Dave Kenny will have another segment. You are watching Oxford News This Week.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
Affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
Hello, this is Lomas Brown, ex-Detroit Lion, and you're watching OCTV. That's Oxford Community TV. Check it out.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. Silkworms have been genetically engineered with CRISPR to produce pure spider silk for the first time. The worms could offer a scalable way to create things like surgical thread or bulletproof vests from spider silk, which is prized for its strength, flexibility, and lightness. Spider silk has been eyed as a greener alternative to synthetic fibers, which are derived from fossil fuels and leach harmful microplastics into the environment. Farming silk from spiders themselves is difficult, however, because they tend to eat each other and only produce a small amount of silk fiber to make their webs. A 4 square meter spider silk shawl that was displayed at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, for example, had to be created from silk of over 1 million golden orb weaver spiders. As a result, several groups have tried to genetically engineer silkworms so that they make spider silk instead of their own silk, since silkworms are easier to farm and spin much larger quantities of fiber. But until now, the silk produced by these modified silkworms has been less than 36% spider silk. Now, Youngming Mi at Donghua University in China and his colleagues have used a more advanced genetic engineering technique called CRISPR to insert the genes responsible for making spider silk proteins into silkworms. The resulting silkworms produce silk that was 100% spider silk and could withstand stretching forces of 1,299 megapascals without breaking, making it 1.3 times stronger than nylon. Its toughness, the energy it could absorb under impact, was 319 megajoules per cubic meter, making it 6 times stronger than Kevlar. As a bonus, the silkworms also naturally applied a protective coating to the spider silk, resembling that produced by spiders themselves. This is likely to result in the fibers being more durable than artificially created spider silk, says Mi. This makes silkworms an all-in-one station for spider silk production, he says. The engineered silkworms could enable cheap mass production of spider silk, which may be used as surgical suturing thread or in bulletproof vests, says Mi. The team has already experimented with using the spider silk as a suturing thread for stitching up incisions in rats and found that their wounds healed better than when traditional nylon threads were used, he says. And the search goes on. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kinney.
You budget. You pay bills.
Yet somehow, women like you
like me, are 80% more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to save ourselves by setting a goal to save 2% more of our income for our retirement.
Why 2?
1% honors you,
and 1% honors all womankind.
So come on, learn more about the 2% challenge at WeSaySaveIt.org.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
K9 Stray Rescue is Oxford's own local dog rescue. Each year they take in hundreds of dogs and bring them into suitable homes. A certified nonprofit organization, K9 Dog Rescue strives to give pound dogs a new leash on life. To donate, adopt, or even volunteer, call them at 248-628-0435 or go to their website, dogsaver.org, and click on the K9 Stray Rescue League link.
And in our last story today, Shooting for the Stars, the Oxford High School Theater Department preparing for the upcoming fall play in style. The team spending a complete week up north for their first ever fall play retreat. This year's play is Peter and the Starcatcher, a prequel to the tale of Peter Pan that tells the story how a young orphan transforms from a boy who would not grow up. The Oxford High School students rehearsed and bonded, continued to build their community while away at camp playing games, roasting marshmallows, deepening friendships under the changing fall scenery. Peter and the Starcatcher dashes onto the Oxford High School stage coming up on November 9th through the 11th. If you're interested in finding out more about the show and purchasing tickets, definitely head to oxfordhighschooltheater.com. Sounds like a good time. As always, we'd like to thank our news gathering sources. This week's news gathered from the Pollyant Trail, also the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, the Charter Township of Oxford, Oxford Community Schools, Oxford Athletics, Oxford High School Teacher M1, Theater M1, I should say, and the Oxford Arts Facebook page. Also the websites, the Oxford Leader, Michigan.gov, the Detroit News, the Oakland Press, OxfordStrongAthletics.org, Oxford High School Theater.com. This week's photo credits go to the many websites I just listed. OCTV can be viewed on Spectrum Charter Channel 191, Channel 99 on the AT&T Uverse system. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Roku, and I believe Apple TV as well. If you have a show idea, contact our office, OCTV. Give us a call at 248-628-9658. Very special thank you to our producer, Director Kyle Snage, who's showing Jebediah Calhoun how to do this very job. The videographers out there, we appreciate you there. Our news writing ability from Allison Miller. Editor Marissa Haruska, programmer Connie Miller, also program coordinator Dan Weiss. For our station manager Terry Stiles, for everyone here at OCTV, I'm Jim Hughes, hoping you have a safe week. I invite you back next time, and again, we will take a look at Oxford News this week.